On the first day of the unleavened bread, when the Passover lamb is sacrificed, the disciples said to Jesus,
"Where do you want us to go and make the preparations for you to eat the Passover?"
So he sent two of his disciples, saying to them,
Go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him, and wherever he enters, say to the owner of the house, the teacher asks, where is my guest room? Where may I eat the Passover with my disciples? He will show you a large room upstairs, furnished and ready. Make preparations for us there.
So the disciples set out and went to the city, and found everything as he had told them, and they prepared the Passover meal. When it was evening, Jesus came with the 12, and when they had taken their places and were eating, Jesus said,
Truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me, one who is eating with me.
They began to be distressed and to say to him one after another,
Surely not I.
It is one of the 12, one who is dipping bread into the bowl with me.
While they were eating, he took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it and gave it to them and said,
Take, this is my body.
Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, and all of them drank from it. He said to them,
This is my blood, which is poured out for many. Truly, I tell you, I will never again drink of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new in the kingdom of God.
When he had sung the hymn, they went out unto the Mount of Olives. And Jesus said to them,
You will all become deserters, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go before you to Galilee.
Even though all become deserters, I will not.
Truly, I tell you, this day, this very night, before the cock crows twice, you will deny me 3 times.
Even though I must die with you, I will not deny you.
and all of them said the same. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to the disciples,
Sit here while I pray.
He took with him Peter and James and John, and began to be distressed and agitated, and said to them,
I am deeply grieved, even to death. Remain here and keep awake.
And going a little further, he threw himself on the ground and prayed,
Abba, Father, for you all things are possible. Remove this cup from me, yet not what I want, but what you want.
Jesus came and found them sleeping, and he said to Peter,
Simon, are you asleep? Could you not keep awake 1 hour? Keep awake and pray that you may not come into the time of trial. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
And again he went away and prayed, saying the same words. And once more he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy, and they did not know what to say to him. He came a third time and said to them,
Are you still sleeping and taking your rest? Enough. The hour has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand.
Immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived, and with him was a crowd with swords and clubs from the chief of priests, the scribes, and the elders. Now the betrayer had given them signs, saying,
The one I will kiss is the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard.
So when he came, he went up to him at once and said,
Rabbi,
and kissed him. Then they laid hands on him and arrested him. But one of those who stood near drew his sword and struck the slave of the high priest, cutting off his ear. Then Jesus said to them,
Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me as though I were a bandit? Day after day, I was with you in the temple teaching, and you did not arrest me. But let the scriptures be fulfilled.
All of them deserted him and fled.
They took Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests, the elders, and the scribes were assembled. Peter had followed him at a distance right into the courtyard of the high priest, and he was sitting with the guards, warming himself at the fire. Now the chief priests and the whole council were looking for testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. For many gave false testimony against him, and their testimony did not agree. Then the high priest stood up before them and asked Jesus,
Have you no answer? What is it that they testify against you?
but he was silent and did not answer. Again, the high priest asked him,
Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One?
I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power, and coming with the clouds of heaven.
Why do you still need witnesses? Have you heard of the blasphemy? What is your decision?
all of them condemned him as deserving death. Some began to spit on him, to blindfold him, and to strike him, saying to him,
Prophesy.
The guards also took him and beat him. While Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came by. When she saw Peter warming himself, she stared at him and said,
You also were with Jesus, the man from Nazareth.
But he denied it, saying,
I do not know or understand what you are talking about.
Then the cock crowed, and the servant girl began again to say the bystanders.
This man is one of them.
I am not.
Then, after a little while, the bystanders again said to Peter,
Certainly you are one of them, for you are Galilean.
I do not know this man you are talking about.
At that moment, the cock crowed for the second time. Then Peter remembered that Jesus had said to him,
Before the cock crows twice, you will deny me 3 times.
And he broke down and wept. As soon as it was morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council. They bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to the Pilate. Pilate asked him,
Are you the king of the Jews?
You say so.
Then the chief priests accused him of many things. Pilate asked him again,
Have you no answer? See how many charges they bring against you.
But Jesus made no further reply, so that Pilate was amazed. Now at the festival, he used to release a prisoner for them, anyone for whom they asked. Now a man called Barabbas was in prison with the rebels who had committed murder during the insurrection. So the crowd came and began to ask Pilate to do for them according to his custom. Then he answered them,
Do you want me to release for you the king of the Jews?
For he realized that it was out of jealousy that the chief priests had handed him over. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have him release Barabbas for them instead. Pilate spoke to them again.
Then what do you wish for me to do with the man you call the king of the Jews?
Crucify him.
Why? What evil has he done?
Crucify him.
So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas for them, and after flogging Jesus, he handed him over to be crucified. Then the soldiers led him into the courtyard of the palace, and they called together the whole court. And they clothed him in purple cloak, and after twisting thorns into a crown, they put it on him, and they began saluting him.
Hail, King of the Jews.
They struck him in the head with a reed, spat upon him, and knelt down in homage to him. After mocking him, they stripped him of the purple cloak and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. They compelled a passerby who was coming in from the country to carry his cross. It was Simon of Cyrene, the father of Alexander and Rufus. Then they brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of a skull. And they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, and he did not take it. And they crucified him and divided his clothes among them, casting lots to decide what each should take. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. The inscription of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." And with him they crucified 2 bandits, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him and shaking their heads and saying,
Aha! You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from the cross.
In the same way, the chief priests, along with the scribes, were also mocking him among themselves and saying,
He saved others, he cannot save himself. Let the Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross now, so that we may see and believe.
Those who were crucified with him also taunted him. When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice,
Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani.
which means,
My God, why have you forsaken me?
when some of the bystanders heard it, they said,
Listen, he is calling for Elijah.
and someone ran, filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink, saying,
Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come and take him down.
Then Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last, and the curtains of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Now when the centurion who stood facing him saw that in this way he breathed his last, he said,
Truly this man was God's son.